Yo, what's your boy Ghost here, and today I'm bringing you guys another comparison video between the MP-40 and Owen gun. And I wanted to make this comparison because, as you guys know, in the Season 2 Reloaded update, the well gun ended up getting nerfed. And so then, immediately after, people were freaking out. People were thinking like, oh, the Owen gun and MP-40 are going to be the next, like, two best guns in the game, two best SMGs in the game. The well gun's trash and whatnot. And I mean, I feel like we've come to the conclusion the well gun is not trash. But, is it better than the MP-40 and Owen gun? And is these two again like the true, like, now number 1 and 2 of the SMG category? Because before the update, obviously the well gun was obviously like top 2 in my opinion. I think the Owen gun and the well gun were both like 1 and 2. But now with this nerf, has it changed, and it's the MP-40 become the number 2 SMG alongside the Owen gun, which now I believe to be the number 1 SMG, which we'll talk about briefly in a moment here. But before we dig into the comparison, also if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're under 2,000. We're about 70 subs, a little bit less than 70 subs away. So every sub that's greatly helping, and it's always very appreciated. Also, if you guys do me a favor, follow me over at my Twitch channel, alwaysghost_. Try to stream as often as I can. Right now it's been kind of tough, but you know I try anyways. But I mean, with that being said, let's get into the comparison. And here we have the recoil pattern for the MP-40, and I want to just quickly apologize if you guys hear any like banging noise in the background. It's out of my control. Like, there's people doing construction and whatnot, like out the outside. And so yeah, like if it's like really loud, I apologize. I'm hoping it's not, but they've been going crazy with the banging, bro. So like, you know, I'm just gonna hope that it doesn't get picked up that much by the mic. But anyways, man, the MP-40 obviously has been one of the best SMGs since the beginning of the integrations. That's kind of crazy that like 3 months, 4 months later, like this gun is still on top, like being considered one of the best SMGs. Like, I don't think at any point has this gun really dropped out of the top 3 conversation for SMGs. And I mean, even now, man, it's still really good. And with the nerf of the well gun, like, this gun just got, I guess, kind of better in the sense that, you know, since the well gun got worse, the MP-40 stayed the same, then technically you could say that the MP-40 just became better, slightly better than the well gun. And I mean, right now, I'm not gonna lie, like, the way when I was using this, I was just frying, and I was like, bro, this gun definitely to me feels a little bit better than the well gun. And before the update, like, I wouldn't have said that. I think the well gun was definitely better, but like now, although the well gun didn't get nerfed that much, it doesn't feel the same, bro. Like, it really doesn't feel the same. And the MP-40 just, you know, it just feels really good. Now, one thing I did try doing with the MP-40 was using the iron sight. And man, listen, bro, if you can use iron sight with the MP-40, bro, props to you. I don't know, whatever reason, I just can't use it. Like, it just feels really awkward to use. Aside from the ground loop one feels nice. Like, don't get me wrong, like the ground loop one, man, that's my gun, bro. But when I use a loadout and I try to use iron sight MP-40, like, it's just impossible, bro. I have to use the slate reflector, or else I'm gonna just get cooked, bro. I don't know what it is. It's just something about it, man. But yeah, man, MP-40 really good. And I don't know, but like, this gun got hit a lot harder than the well gun did in the beginning of Season 2. Like, the nerf is really noticeable. And like the well gun, like I said, bro, it just doesn't feel like it got nerfed, because it kind of feels the same, but at the same time it kind of does feel like it got nerfed. Like, it's a weird, for me, it's like a weird situation with the well gun, or at least for me personally. Like, from out of experience, that's how I feel. Like, it feels like the nerf just never came through, but at the same time there's instances where like you do feel like it's a little bit, you know, like nerfed. Whereas MP-40, like when this got nerfed, it was definitely noticeable, especially like in the range department. Like, this gun was definitely noticeable in its nerf. And I don't know, man, it's very weird situation for me. Whereas like the Owen gun, I can't really say anything, because that gun's like never really been touched at all, and it's still really good. And when you guys hear the stats, you're just gonna be like, wow, why this guy getting nerfed, or why this gun didn't get nerfed? Like, bro, it's just absurd. So actually, with that being said, let's just go over to the Owen gun and stats. Here are the recoil pattern for the Owen gun, and as you guys can see, you know, nothing too special here. Obviously, both these guns, I would say, are pretty easy to control. I mean, they're both SMGs, so it really doesn't matter if they're easy to control, because, you know, we're not really using these guns at full range. They are being used at range. People are very comfortable using them at range. Me, too. Like, when I've used SMGs, I typically try to expand the ranges a little bit, even doing some stupid challenges sometimes when it comes to range with these SMGs. And I, you know, I sometimes pay the price for it, or sometimes it gets rewarded. But anyways, man, moving over to the first set of stats. That's the fire rate, and then for the MP-40 you got a 600 RPM, whereas the Owen gun you have a 500 RPM. So already the MP-40 has a slight advantage in the fire rate department, which again, fire rate is pretty important in this game. Yes, you can always increase the fire rate for both these weapons, but like, I mean, I use fire rate attachments on both of them, so it kind of just essentially stays the same, the difference between the two. And you know, 100 RPM doesn't seem like a big difference, but like, yeah, it's kind of noticeable sometimes, man. Especially with Vanguard SMGs or just Vanguard weapons in general. Like, when there's a fire rate difference, bro, it's definitely noticeable. But then moving over to the damages for 0 to 13 meters for the MP-40, we have 58 damage to the head, 41 to the neck, 35 to the chest, 32 to the stomach, and then 30 to the upper leg and arm, and 26 to the lower leg and arm. For 0 to 13 meters for the Owen gun, you got 55 damage to the head, neck, and chest, and then 39 to the chest, or 39 to the stomach and extremities. So, off rip, like, the only thing the MP-40 has going for it in the damage is the headshot, which 58 damage for an SMG at the caliber of the MP-40 is actually kind of absurd. But the Owen gun is 55, so they're both 5 shots to the head, which is pretty crazy. The one big difference here is the chest damage. Like, the chest damage for the Owen gun is 55 compared to the 35s on MP-40, and like, bro, chest shots are probably one of the more common shots in the game, man. To be able to 5-shot somebody in the chest at close range is actually really crazy, and I'm surprised that this has not been nerfed. Like, I don't think it's okay to have an SMG to 5-shot somebody statistically in the chest to then kill somebody. But then again, I just realized I'm trolling, because man, I can't believe I didn't think of this. It just hit me right now. They increased the health in normal BR. Now in REBIRTH, I'm not sure if they did. It definitely doesn't feel like it. But in normal BR, they did increase health to 350. So it's not actually a 5-shot in normal BR. But in REBIRTH, if the health did stay the same, and I don't remember it ever getting changed, I didn't hear or read anything about it. Then in that case, it's a 5-shot in REBIRTH, which is really absurd. Or maybe, like, I don't know, these stats might be weird. Like, these stats might be inflated for the new BR, and it actually might not be the same in REBIRTH. Now that I'm thinking about it, like, I'm thinking of this right now. Like, I didn't think of this in my last videos. I totally forgot about that. It's, like, big detail. Can't believe I forgot about it until now. But I don't know, man. I'm just gonna go off this. Hopefully they are the same stats, and then in that case, I mean, it definitely feels like it though, because I'm gonna be smoking fools in REBIRTH. But anyways, man, for 13 and 16 meters for the MP-40, we got 46 damage to the head, 30 to the neck, 28 to the chest, 26 to the stomach, and then 24 to the upper leg and arm, and 21 to the lower leg and arm. And so the damage drop-off kind of comes in pretty big in certain situations here. And then for 13 and 16 meters for the Owen gun, you got 47 damage to the head, neck, and chest, 30 to the stomach and extremities. So the damage drop-off for the Owen gun isn't as drastic as it is for the MP-40. At medium range, I would say the Owen gun definitely has a big advantage, just because the damages are still pretty absurd. Like 47 to the chest is still pretty crazy for medium range. Like, that's literally only, what, I think at that point it's only 6 shots instead of 5, which is, you know, kind of crazy. But again, if you take into account the whole thing that I just said earlier about the whole BR and REBIRTH health, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if that even stays true in REBIRTH. But again, for the sake of the video, we're just gonna go with it, because man, I wouldn't even know where to find stats for if they're different. But anyways, man, for 60 meters and above from the MP-40, you got 40 damage to the head, 28 to the neck, 24 to the chest, 22 to the stomach, and then 21 to the upper leg and arm, 18 to the lower leg and arm for the Owen gun at 16 meters and above. You got 31 damage to the head, neck, and chest, 22 to the stomach, 22 to the stomach and extremities. So the damage drop for the Owen gun is significant in the headshot department, whereas the MP-46 is pretty high. 40 damage to the head at range is still pretty crazy. Whereas the Owen gun kind of falls off in that department, but in everything else, it still stays more powerful than the MP-40. Except for like the stomach by 1 actually. But overall, man, the Owen gun clearly has the advantage in damage, and it's actually definitely noticeable when you're playing the game. More specifically, going to be more noticeable at range. I think at close range, especially with the headshot, like the MP-40, it's going to be able to stay up there. And I still think definitely like it's the better number 2 option than the well gun. Like, I think the well gun is a little bit weaker now than the MP-40, and even if it's not, like, bro, I just think the MP-40 is still better. The Owen gun obviously clears both of them. Like, I mean, yeah, it's not really up for debate. Like, it definitely clears both of them, and it's probably gonna stay number one for quite some time unless they change it soon, which I don't really, at this point, considering they haven't been changing weapons, I don't expect it's going to get nerfed soon, but I think in Season 3, this gun will probably receive some damage nerf, in my opinion. I think the MP-40 is going to stay where it's at because it's, you know, I don't think it deserves another nerf. And the well gun, I think it's going to stay where it's at as well. But overall, the way things are right now, in conclusion, I do definitely think that MP-40 and Owen gun are definitely the 1 and 2 of Warzone. Owen gun being number 1, and then MP-40 obviously being number 2. I think the well gun is still obviously top 3, still a really good gun, but it just doesn't do anything better than both these guns. Yeah, so with that being said, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys later. I'm out. Peace.